Welcome to the Cavalier Insider Pregame Show. This is another segment here as we look ahead to Virginia and Duke. And Duke comes into this one 3:30 p.m. Saturday at Scott Stadium. Blue Devils have won 4 of 5 in this series, looking to continue that trend on Saturday. And when you look at those games, Hootie, the most recent one last year down at Wallace Wade Stadium in Durham, it was kind of a landmark game for Virginia. At the time, I believe they were 2-3 going in. They had just played Louisiana Tech, where a certain Phillip Sims had rallied Virginia late and almost had an incredible comeback to lose that game by 6 points. But Phillip Sims was great down the stretch. And it kind of there's a debate who's going to be your starter. It ended up being Sims over Rocco. And at the time, I think Virginia fans were excited. This is kind of a new era. Here's Phillip Sims, this ballyhooed Alabama transfer from the 757, number 1 recruit in the country a few years back. And this was the start of something new. And he goes down there. Virginia loses that game 42-17. Phillip Sims only completes half of his 42 passes, throws a couple picks. And, of course, what we thought of Phillip Sims, maybe that excitement was quickly died down as Virginia couldn't get anything going. As a matter of fact, really, Michael Rocco, once he got back behind center, was a better quarterback down that stretch. And looking here a year later at Virginia's quarterback situation, Sims is gone, Rocco is gone. Those are guys that still had eligibility here. One transferred, one is out of the school. And UVA's now 2-4 with David Wofford, who's developing, but still he's shown signs of a first-year starter this year. Just how did that whole Phillip Sims situation, looking back on it a year later, how did that affect this program?
I think it had a big negative effect on the program. I thought that they didn't vent Phillip Sims properly. I think he was a guy who had raw talent but a terrible work ethic. I don't think he was very good at reading defenses. He always ignored his checkdowns and decided to go for the long bomb every play, which never worked out hardly. I was told by some Alabama staff that even though he had skill set, he wasn't an Alabama guy, meaning he wasn't dedicated, he didn't work. Turned out he wasn't a Virginia guy either. Now we'll see if he's a Winston-Salem State guy. But I think Rocco, they jerked him around a little bit. And, I think his father was probably the main reason that he left because of impatience. Had he stayed, he was one of the best 2-minute quarterbacks I've covered in my career, and I think if he was here now in his senior year, I think Virginia would be 4-2 right now, possibly 5-1 instead of 2-4, and Mike London wouldn't be answering all these questions every week, nor would Fairchild. I think Bill Lazor might even still be here, to tell you the truth. But I think it was just a really bad decision. Virginia got a little greedy. They said, this eye candy over here is too good to resist. And then you get a guy in like that, it's hard not to play him because, of recruiting repercussions. So I think it was just a badly thought out situation.
Yeah, it certainly has led to, even more troubles for Virginia this season. Not much has changed besides that certain personnel. And you say that if Rocco was here, they'd be 4-2, 5-1 potentially. So you're giving Rocco beats Pitt, Rocco beats Ball State.
Maryland.
Beats Maryland.
Yeah.
Ball State's kind of
that's a toss-up. Because I think Ball State's not a bad team.
Right. So certainly things could be different. It's just interesting to look back a year later. This is when the Phillip Sims kind of era started, technically, with that start against Duke. And a year later, Virginia's in the same spot, just with different personnel. Phillip Sims isn't here, neither is Michael Rocco. But getting to this particular game, it will not involve any of those characters. It will be David Wofford as quarterback. But really, this game is going to look at Virginia's defense. It goes against a Duke offense. Anthony Boone was the starter last year, made his first start. He will start again on Saturday for the Blue Devils. This guy, pretty talented, threw for 4 touchdowns against the Cavaliers last year. And Hootie, the big thing is he's going against a Virginia defense without its best defensive lineman. Brent Urban is out, and without potential, or arguably its best defensive back, Demetrius Nicholson. How does that hamper the Hoos?
I think drastically, really, because going in, Virginia's a 2.5 point favorite, I guess. Their backs are against the wall, and some people think it's their last chance to get a win or at least to try to get things turned around. They were dominated in Durham last year, and I think David Cutcliffe's one of the most underrated coaches in the country. He's definitely going to take advantage of those holes in Virginia's defense, and Anthony Boone is a pretty good quarterback. So I think it really puts Virginia behind the 8 ball because, again, their defense that's what's killed them in some of these games, is giving up too many big plays. And that's how Duke has beaten them the last 4 of the last 5 was with big plays.
So we will, how much will that factor into Saturday's outcome? With our next segment, we will unveil some predictions, Virginia and Duke.